And give me just a moment here. Gadoosh. Welcome everyone, and say hello to Carlton, and over my other shoulder is Ralph. Really? Go figure. Okay. Well, those of you who are watching after the fact, which is, according to the numbers down here, everyone right now, don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the bell icon, keep notified of when the cats are going online, and me. And as I mentioned down below, I've still got just barely over a week left on the Epic Enemies Kickstarter. It's coming close to that second stretch goal. But it's already made the first stretch goal, which means I have a cat that's being overly snuggly. Which means there will be not only the orc and goblin that I'm working on now, but also another evil warlord. This time, the more classical, heavily armored Dark Lord with his army of evil minions. And yes, the bodies and arms for those evil minions will be compatible with the bodies and arms for the standard soldiers that are part of the de Shaman encounter. But since I have to work on the orc and goblin, I'm not going to show the orc quite yet. I still got a little bit more detailing on him. I'm going to start work on the goblin tonight. Live! Yay! Now, we're not going to be using my new... excuse me. We're not going to be using my new base mesh for this. Couple reasons. Number one, we want to keep the goblin looking like the goblins that are already in the Green Tide. Keep a cohesion there. And number two, I don't have a goblin made for it yet. And number three, I want the first figure I sculpt on the new base mesh to be my current character, who Valandar the Red, one of the oldest characters I've played, and I've played him in at least 3 different game systems, counting D&D as only one. All the different versions of D&D I've made him in, that's one. I've made him in 2 other systems. Anyway, he's got a basic look, a basic concept, and let's see how he looks on the new system, a new mesh, with new detailing techniques and new everything. So, anyway, we're going to be using my standard goblin for this. And in order to do the standard goblin, we've got to go to Dev Studio. And we go to Content Library. We go to Miniature Base Geo. Load in the jointed base mail. That's my default. We go to Parameters. First thing we're going to do is we actually have to turn off Smooth Torso. We're leaving hand details on because, hey, I may as well. And then races. Well, we'll get to that in a second. First thing we're going to do, go back to Content Library, Props, and I'm going to load in just something in the right hand. Not sure what. Let's make it a torch. Yeah. That torch is going to get replaced. All we wanted that for was for the posing. Also, so that we can now go into this right hand. Parameters. Modifiers. Our hand knuckles. We're going to adjust. Let's make that 100. Yeah. That gives us the knuckles that we now don't need to sculpt in at the final stage. Now, we're going to make the left hand knuckles 25. I'll make that 50. Okay, now, we go to races, and he's going to be one of those goblins. However, that head is still pretty much cliche. We need to change that head. That's also under modifiers. Do we want to make him hook-nosed, long-nosed, or potato-nosed? I'm going to go with the long-nosed. Simply because I also like how I did the chin on this guy. Now, one thing about this particular character, he's actually not going to be touching ground with his feet. The reason for that is, well, he's flying. Yes, the goblin is flying. Part of the concept of this character is that as a storm shaman, he has gotten a hold of two particularly potent magic items. One of them is a wand of lightning bolts, which he calls a staff. Oh, wrong one. Which he calls a staff, but is actually a wand. It's just that he's so small he thinks it's a staff. And the other is Wings of Flight, or Cloak of the Bat. One of the two. I'm not sure which one actually counts. Symmetry, right to left. Now I'm gonna go ahead and pivot the hip a little bit. Wrong way, that way. And I'm just kind of fiddling with the legs. And I'm going to lock the hip. Pin translation, pin rotation. And then I'm going to come to the front. I'm going to switch to that. And I'm going to drag that foot down. And then make sure this side to side is set to 0. And I'm going to kind of turn the foot that way. Now, I select both the abdomen and chest. I'm going to bend them forward a little bit, side to side that way, and twist that way. Then I'm going to go back to just the chest. I'm going to bend it back a little and side to side it a bit more like that. So that way we get, he's got to bend the chest back a bit more than that. Okay. Now let's see. Let's go ahead and raise this shoulder. Spin this arm. Bring it forward a bit and raise it up a bit. Let's also twist this collar. I'm going to tilt the head back a little and then open the mouth wide, as wide. We have to tilt the neck back a bit because we want this mouth to open pretty wide. Actually, I know, we'll take the neck and tilt it forward a lot and then tilt the head back a lot. And then yeah. Now, I'm going to go ahead and unpin all. Bring the shoulder back. Also bring it up a little. Twist that there. And twist the forearm. And I'm going to bend the fingers a little. And let's go ahead, while I'm at it, let's just go ahead and add those left hand knuckles back to full, just to make sure we keep them. Yeah, see, we don't have to sculpt on the hands now, except maybe a little bit on the palm. All right, we're gonna bring the, yeah, there we go. And now next thing is the eyes, or rather the brows. And then symmetry right to left. Except, and there we have our goblin basic pose. The problem is we need to make his wings and wand, and we've already posed him. So what do? Well, we simply hide him. Content library. Hey, cut that out. Stay off the books. And we're going to go back to here and load in another base figure. Load in just another right hand prop and delete it. Then we're going over to 3D Studio Max. I'm going to import a prop that I've already made in the past. Let's say anything on here look interesting that might work. No other. Nope. Into no. Let's go with old. Yeah. Do I have a wand in here? No. However, I do have a dagger, which will give us a rough size. Dagger right hand. Import. And we're gonna center it. This will just give us the size that we're looking for. Oh, that went almost invisible. We don't want it invisible, we just want it dim, so we're gonna put it there. And also gonna color. Go frozen gray, no. Freeze selected. That's just so we can barely see it up in here on these front and side and top views, but we can still, easily make it out over here. Okay, now what we're gonna do, we're gonna unfreeze it for a second so we can check out its position, and it's at 13.228 and 15.999. Okay. Alright, now what we're going to do is the Wand of Lightning, as shown in the Dungeon Master's Guide, is kind of impractical to use on a tabletop miniature because it's a handle, 3 lightning bolts, not fantasy style but realistic style lightning bolts, and then a tip. There's no way I'm going to be able to make something like that will be printable on FDM, and not be so daggum fragile that you blow on it and it poofs into dust. So instead, what we're going to do is we're going to do something vaguely related, but that's actually going to be secretly overlapping. So we're going to come in, zoom into here. We're going to make a cylinder with 3 height segments, 2 cap segments, and 10 sides. This is basically going to end up being our handle. Now we're going to move it back to about here. This will not have a pommel simply because, actually let's make that 4 height segments. It will not have a pommel because it's a wand, not a dagger. Then we're going to editable poly. We're going to select these vertexes and make them a bit larger, like that. Okay. I'm also going to go ahead and double check. That's 13.228 and 15.999. You can barely see it move, maybe a pixel or two here, but it is kind of important. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to select both this edge and this edge, loop, and we're going to chamfer. Oh wait, no, not yet. We're going to select those and shrink and bring them out, because this is going to be where our lightning is going to be attached to. I say attached, and yeah. Now we're going to chamfer them. 0.001. And mesh smooth. 1, 2. Collapse all. And that is our handle. It doesn't really look like much right off the top of the bat, but no. Let's go ahead and make it, first of all, let's make it a brighter color. You know, this ought to do. Easier to see on these side, front, and top views. Now we're going to add 4 zigzag shapes made out of splines. They all will start back here and then just kind of and near the tip. And we're going to make them renderable. We're also going to make them 13.228. There. That's a little thicker than we want. Make that thickness 0.8. Yeah. And we're going to collapse it. Editable poly. We're now going to make another one. Now watch what happens. We're going to put this back here too. It is 13.228. Editable poly. Then we're going to make another one. You'll notice that now we don't have to worry about that will be 15.999. And then line here. There. 15.999. Now we're going to hide the frozen, because as we can see, we don't need it. Now what we're going to be doing, we're going to be moving some of these vertexes to make it a bit more wand-like and a bit less daggery. Excuse me. We're also going to be removing some of these edges. Loop ring. Okay, we're going to deselect the ones that are nice and sharp. And then like this one down here, we're going to deselect it. We're going to deselect this. I'm going to deselect this. And then we're going to hit and deselect all of these. Now control backspace. Yeah, there we go. We got our nice jaggedy, no longer curved. And we're going to select here, bring it in, select this one, bring it in. Okay. Now this one. I'm gonna select edible. We're not gonna have to worry about all that because we can just grab these vertexes and bring them in, because I haven't made them into edible poly yet. And now edible poly. Now this one, same thing. Grab here, edible poly. Now, I'm going to go ahead and attach all of the other here. I'm also going to go and select this edge, which doesn't need to be here. Now, I'm going to select all these, and we're going to scale them down to 0. We are not collapsing them, we're scaling them to 0. Because there'd be some issues otherwise. Let's see. There we go. I'm still keeping the look, which is good. Now what else we're going to do is we're going to select here, 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 and here. Loop, ring, and Z. Now we've got all of these edges selected. We're going to chamfer them at 0.001 to, okay. Now smooth 1. Collapse all. Now the last thing we need is a cap on this wand. And what we're going to do for the cap is a cone. Oh, also, let's go ahead and attach this. Cone. Why did I brain part like that? Alright, we're going to go here and meet out to about there. And bring it forward about there and point it. This is just to get it on the screen. Now we're going to go up to here. We're going to make it a little bit higher. Just a little bit wider because it's having problems on that one bolt edge right there. That's good enough. And we're going to change the height segments to 3. Yeah, 3. We're going to change the cap segments to 2. And the sides, we're going to make this 12. Yeah. Edible poly. But before we do anything, well, let's move this X and Y 13.228, 15.999. We're then going to rotate it. Oh, it helps if I turn on the angle snap, rotate it 45 degrees. Now why I did that is because of the positioning of the flats here. We're going to select the 3, more than the 3. Select here, here, and here, and here, here, and here. This should be 12, yes. We're going to then select the ones here, 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 and here. Now, we're going to shrink them a little bit like this, then Control I to invert and grow them a little bit that way. Then we're going to take this bit right here, make it larger than the one further down, and bring it down to about there. Then finally, we're going to grab here and here, loop, chamfer 0.01, but we're not, or 0.001, but we're not going to make it a 2. Make it a little bit softer. Now finally, we're going to select here, weld, yeah. Now, we're going to now attach this. Oh no, not yet. We're going to select this. We're going to give it at least one more mesh smooth. Collapse all. Now we're going to attach the cap and give it a mesh smooth. Collapse all. And that is our wand of lightning for our psycho. Alright. We're now going to rotate it 45 degrees. Because that's the orientation most hands are. We're going to export it. Export selected. Boo-boo, boo-boo. Going to be under legendary foes, orc, Gobbo, wavefront OBJ, Z wand. I'm using a Z at the beginning because these ones that start with a Z are ones that are just early geo, not actually part of the sculpt. And now we go back to Dev Studio. I was gonna kind of take a peek in here. Anyone speaking up? No, and nobody watching. Okay, back to Dev Studio. I'm now going to File, Import, and from Legendary Foes, Orc, Gobbo, Z-Wand. Accept. We're gonna tweak the position. We're gonna tweak the positioning of it a little bit. And then parent it to the right hand. Oh wait. Parent it to the right hand. And then that's going to be File, Save As, Support Asset, Figure Prop Assets. And we're going to save this under Miniature Base Geo, Props, Orky, L-Bolt. You never know if I might need to use this again. Anyway, we're now going to select him and delete him and make our goblin visible again. Now we're going to our Orky props and refresh. Wait a minute. L-Bolt, there it is. Okay. Select our buddy and L-Bolt. zoom out. Now the thing is, I need to move it again. So we're going to select it, and we're going to move it to about there. We also need to make it a little bit thicker because it's just kind of barely looping in his hand. So what we're going to do is we're going to edit object geometry, add a push modifier. Now obviously that's way too much. So we go to mesh offset and we start bringing down this push modifier until it's thick enough but not goofy. The other option is, let's drop it down even more, 0.2, and then we're going to scale. We're going to X and Y 150%. And then we're going to, move it back into place because, We're also going to go ahead and go down to mesh offset and bring that down to 0. We don't need it after doing what we just did, but we do a little bit. And then we're going to edit object geometry, convert to SD. But yeah, it's pretty clear that's supposed to be a wand of lightning now. It's also something that would be difficult, if not impossible, to mold using conventional techniques. So now, what we're going to do, we need to add clothing bits. So the first thing that we're going to add is the tunic. The next thing that we're going to add is the furry boot cuffs. And then the last thing is, well, that's the last thing for now. What we do need to do, however, is get this tunic skirt and open up here. No, it's not the tunic skirt, it's the boot cuffs. What we're going to do is we're going to select both of the shins on the boot cuffs and increase the Y scale. Oh, it's all Y scale. Now, why did we do that? Because number one, it kind of makes it thick enough to actually look good. Number two, it actually kind of pushes it down more towards the feet. Makes them look more like the entire shin. Now, if we did Y translate, it actually might work, except for the fact that it ignores Y translate. Or does it? Anyway, that's what we're doing for the pose for our shaman. Now, before we do anything else, we're going to hide the skirt and the boots and the wand. We're going to just export him. File, export. Break this back down. Legendary foes, orc, gobbo, Z pose. Because what we're going to do is we're going to use this back in 3D Studio Max. File, import. Legendary foes, orc, gobbo, Z pose. We're going to use this to make his cloak of the bat. Okay. Now what we're going to do first is we're going to Pro Optimize. Pro Optimize is something similar to Decimation Master in ZBrush, except it's not quite as efficient. It's pretty much a standard high-speed decimator. Now, calculate. From 22,700 polys, we're going to make it 700, or vertexes, we're going to make it 700 vertexes. Now, as you can see, it's still easily kept the overall shape of our goblin. But it's also now much, much smaller. We're going to collapse it. And we're going to, once again, change the color to be this dark, muted purple. Turn off Show Frozen in Gray. Freeze Selected, then turn off Hide Frozen. I'm also going to unfreeze by hit. Select the dagger. Now we select that dagger and delete it, because we don't need it. Alright, now, the next thing that's going to happen is what this cloak will look like. It's going to, on one hand, look like bat wings coming out from under his arms, but then it's going to swoop into a tail, and that tail is what's actually holding him onto his base. Okay? We're going to start off with a plane here. We're also going to make that plane one segment. Now, we're going to add a poly. We're going to start off with basically attaching this part to his elbows. We're going to have straps and that coming off of it. And this part coming out to be the outermost edge of the wing. We're then going to move these so that they're in position this dimension too. Now, we can't leave it like that. Number one, it's lacking a lot of shape. Number two, it's passing through him. What we're going to do is we're going to select the top and bottom edges and we're going to connect them 3 times. Okay, now we're going to start off by moving these vertexes so that they are visible. Okay, that one's good. Then we're going to select this one. It comes out there. Select this one. About there. Now we're going to select these 3 and go back a bit here and back quite a bit here. So as you can see, actually we're going to just go ahead and select these 2. We're going to make it go back even more on these 2. And this one is going to come down there. This one is going to come down there. Okay. Now, we're going to select these edges. And we're going to connect them again. Oh, connect them only once though. Okay. Now what's going to happen is this one is now going to come just to there. And it's going to kind of even out. This one is going to come back like this. And back a lot more. Because what's going to happen, these are the gaps between the wing fingers, so to speak. And now we're going to go ahead and grab this and make it go back even more, because it's going to have to loop around that foot. Now, I'm going to select here, and we're going to chamfer it, odd as that sounds. Okay. Then we're going to select this one and enlarge it. Now, right now, if you look at it from the front, you can see the batwing look. We're going to be doing a lot of tweaking in ZBrush to get this to look really good. Alright. Now the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to turn that off and we're going to shell. We're going to make it 2 centimeters. That's quite a bit for the cloak, but this is going to be supporting our gobbo. Collapse all. And now we're going to select that. And we're going to convert to edible poly. We're going to extrude 1 time. Just once. To help us bring it back around. We're then going to select here and ring. We're going to connect it once. We're going to take that connection, convert it to vertexes. Deselect the ones up at the neck. And then down here, we're going to pull it out and up a little so that we get a curve. And once again, smooth one. Collapse all. Then we're going to bring these closer in because they are getting narrower. It's the tail of the cloak, so to speak. And then we're going to bring the whole thing a bit further forward because it's curving around that foot. We're also going to rotate it and oh yeah, we got to rotate it this way too. And then we're going to extrude it again. This time, however, we're going to extrude it to there. And we're going to grab only the front vertexes of this and bring them up. And we're going to take the back ones and bring them down. And we're also going to Y-scale these bottom ones to 0 and look and X them, or Z translate to 0. Now we're going to kind of zoom out. We're now going to extrude 0. It's going to come out this way. We're going to shrink it lower these suckers down to the ground. Oh. Lower these suckers down to the ground. And then here, once again, we're going to make sure we set its Z to 0. Then we're going to grab the top ones and bring it back. Now that's not enough forward, so we're going to select them all. Bring it forward quite a bit. And then we're going to extrude just a bit there. Okay, and we're going to shrink it just a little bit to continue the narrowing. Now, we're going to hide our goblin by hide frozen objects. Zoom in. Now, the only things that we're now going to sharpen are going to be this edge, and that's it. Loop, chamfer, point. I'm going to make it like that. We're also going to take the 2 bits here, loop. We're going to chamfer them a good bit more than what it's currently showing, just to make sure that we have a nice flat segment touching the base. And then finally we're going to connect this 2, 3. Now we're going to mesh smooth it. That is our bat cloak, our cloak of wings. Now, as you can see, it's not quite perfect, it's not quite touching, but it's exactly what we need. Now, what I'm probably going to do, I'm going to go ahead, let's select these and grow. I'm going to lower them, or not lower them, yeah, I'm going to lower, shrink, lower, shrink, lower, shrink, lower. I'm also going to loop the center. Actually, that's not what I want to do. I'm going to select both of these, ring, connect. And make it 2, a little bit wider apart. Okay. Now, that's a lot, right? However, the reason I did that is I can now select here, here, and here, loop, control backspace, to give it a little bit more in the center. Now, mesh smooth 1, 2. And we have our cloak, or what will be our cloak. So, click that, collapse all. File, export selected, the cloak. Export, done. And just to make sure, we're going back here. We're going to make our various bits and bobs visible again. File, import, decloak, accept. And this is the start of our Storm Shaman. Just the start. Now, next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to link it to the base mail so I can now do this, Control D. Oh look, that jumped the whole thing up to ground height. Anyone in? No one in. One person watching, no one talking. Okay, back to here. We're going to hide the wand and all the other bits, excuse me. File, export, ish body. I'm calling it Ish because his name is Ishrak Gale something. I forget. I named him and I forget. Then the wand. Export ish wand. Accept. File. Export ish tunic. Accept. Hide it. File. Export ish cuffs. Accept. And then Bing. File. Export ish cloak. Accept. And then we cut over to ZBrush. we're going to import legendary foes, orc, gobbo, ishbadi first. Then we go over to subtool. We're going to append. Not append. We're going to insert. Import the tunic first. And insert Polymesh 3D. Import cuffs. Insert Polymesh 3D. Import wand. And then insert Polymesh 3D. Import cloak. And here's where we start to get to our fun stuff. We're going to completely work on this coat before we do anything else with this guy. Okay, so first thing we're doing is we're turning on this button. Remember draw size per brush. It is, I don't see why that isn't standard. Okay, one of the first things that we're going to do is we're going to go to move. Make this a little bit bigger. And we're going to kind of drag this up to the neckline up here. And then bring it up a little bit higher and dig it a little bit into the backs of the arms. And then this is going to go into the back of the neck. This will be the last thing. In fact, this may never actually be fully blended into the figure, because we want it to look like he's just kind of halfway attached to it. We might add some stitchings here and here. Now we're going to subdivide this. Geometry, divide. There we go, 600,000. That should be enough to do some dense work too. Now what we're going to do next is going to be rather kind of odd. We're going to go to, this may or may not work, I should note, we're going to go to snake hook. And we're going to kind of make it big. We're going to grab the tip, pull it down, grab the tip here, pull it down, give it more of a no. More of a flowy look. Kind of emphasize the wing look. Now we're going to back to move. Make this one about that big. We're going to bring it in this way to kind of emphasize the curve there. We're also going to bring this sharper into the elbow. Yeah, and then a little bit over here. Next, we're going to kind of pull this out and make it bigger. Pull it out like that. And pull this out like that. Now, for the next bit, I am going to break out tablet. We're going to go to inflate. And we're going to go small. We're going to go transparency, so I can see the edges here properly. Now, a little bit bigger. And what we're going to do is we're going to trace the outside edge there. In here. And then a little bit smaller. The next thing we're going to do is going to seam 25. Actually, we need to make that bigger. Seam 25. Open it up, and under auto masking, make sure it's got back face mask turned on. Intensity 20. And we're going to follow. Actually, we need to subdivide it again. Yeah, lower. And then we're going to Dynamesh 1024. Now we're going to follow along here. More detail. And here. Then up here. Oh, that didn't work. That was follow along the seam. That looks patched together. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and kind of add on a bit here. Yeah, that's good. We're now going to go down and to this one, and we're going to make it smaller. And we're going to kind of just... Okay, that's too small. Also too... kind of just add on a couple bits that kind of give it a... Oh, I also forgot to turn on back face masking. Basically, we just want to continue that whole crudely stitched together and enchanted by a goblin look. So we're adding in some seams. Okay. And then we're going to come around like that. And that. And then that. And then from here, we're going to kind of come up like that. And then on this left side, where we've got a kind of a bit of a wrinkle, we're going to also add in a poor repair job. Okay. And there we have our winged cloak for our shaman. And now we come to a brief pause, because we knew what he was carrying, and we knew basic clothing stuff that we would need, but we weren't sure what he would actually wear. So I'm thinking about, let's go ahead and subdivide the wand and Dynamesh it at 768. That fuses it all together. So, let me go ahead and pop back here. Well, I don't have anybody watching. But let me go ahead and yep. Once again, it looks like Tuesday might be a bad day for broadcasting in general. It's 8:30. We've been doing this for about an hour. So, what we got to do, we got to figure out what he's going to wear. And get ambushed by a cat. Ugh, who just saw me put up the tablet. Well, we know he's wearing the cloak. We know he'll be out in the storms, and he's a pirate, which means he's probably not going to wear much upper torso clothing, because, I mean, if it gets cold, he's got the cloak. And, well, it's a lot of sun and a lot of heat out on the high seas. That's why half the pirates, you see, are sitting there and wearing the loose baggy pants and no shirt. Or if they are wearing a shirt, it's the poofy shirt that's cool because wind goes in and out and it makes it nice and cool weather clothing. And then what the heck are you doing, little Furby? Okay? I'm gonna put you down. Yeah, I'm putting you down on the floor. There you go. Shoo. Now, we've got him wearing a kilt at least, and boots. So we're going to make him wear straps, make him wear bracers, and if so, what's going to be on them? This is going to be for a Kickstarter, which means details are going to be really needed. Well, we're going to go ahead and pop on back into ZBrush. I'm pretty sure that cloak is about as good as it's going to get. That's, yeah. Oh, actually, no. There's a couple things that we can do. What I'm going to do is I'm going to open up Lightbox. And I'm going to go to Brush. And there's some brushes that I got. And it's a series of VDM brushes. And it's going to take a while to load because it's got a lot of alphas involved. And we're going to turn on Backface Mask. And what we're going to do is we're going to use these VDMs to make the back of this cloak look kind of scaly. And so we're going to find these kind of large patches, like 4. We're just going to take it and we're going to... Wait a minute, which subtool are we on? Yeah. Cloak, yeah. We're going to take it and we're just kind of... Okay, that's too big. Let's also turn that intensity down to 50 because some of these are really big. Let's put that up here. Yeah. Not when we can actually go back. Yeah, there. Then let's see if there's any other good patches. Yeah, here we go. Here's some good ones. Let's go here. This one's going to be here. And we're also going to kind of put it over here. Then something slightly different there. I'm going to put this one on here. They all look like different sea monster skin types. The inside we're going to just mess with just a little bit. Alright, now here, this one's going to kind of be thick, so we're going to put this over here. No. Over here. And then we're gonna polish the alpha here. Okay. And let's go to 23. I'm gonna put this stuff. Then we're gonna go back over. Let's see what's this is perfect for here. Now I'm gonna go ahead and just mask off here because I don't want this to end up totally ruined on that. Let's go mask blur. Okay, zoom out, and now down like that. And so that is the backs of that. Now I'm just simply going to go back to a normal brush, a standard brush, and turn on an alpha that's pre-existing. Probably going to be alpha 8. Drag rectangle, subtract. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of add some internal randomness to the insides to make it look like it's been... Oh, shnikes. Backface mask! Yay! Kind of just... like it's the inside of the hide. There we go. Frame. Zoom out. And there is our cloak. Something to think about. Hold on just a second. Ping. I gotta check something. Okay. Someone's trying to DM me during the broadcast. Yay. Back to ZBrush. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and work on our buddy. So we got to go up to Subtool, select him, and before we do anything, we're going to shrink the mouse a little bit and smooth out the inner mouth, making it a good bit easier to print. Here. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to alpha off dots, reset subtraction quite a bit, stroke, and turn off lazy mouse. We're going to just import in there just to remind it that it is a lip. Then we're going to go to the move tool shrink it down quite a bit. And we're going to basically grab here and bring it down. So it's more of a clearly frowny goblin. Now we're going to go to inflate. We're going to inflate these areas of the brow. Okay. Frame back out. We're going to now come up to geometry, and we're going to divide, 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 delete lower, 1024, Dynamesh. Now that it's Dynameshed, we're also going to get rid of these last little bits remaining from the inner mouth geometry. Okay, now we're going to frame out. And open up the subtool, open up extract, because we're going to need that in just a second. The first thing that we're going to make is the straps holding on the... Well, actually, let's move that. Alright, so we're going to mark off the straps holding on the wings. Okay, and that's going to be extracted. Except draw to get rid of the masking, and then go back to the body, draw and get rid of the masking. Now the thing is, there's not much we're going to really do detail-wise to these straps, except we're going to go to our insert gemstone, add on buckles. I'm going to make sure that the depth is 0. And we're going to... Whoa, no. Control Z. The buckle's under. There. Let's go, let's rotate a little bit. That'll do. That'll do, Pilgrim. And then we're gonna split unmasked points, and then we're gonna go down here. This will also help hide that. We're going to add on. No, from here. Add on the buckle there. And once again, we're going to rotate it so that it's a bit more even into the... There. Split unmasked points. And then, just for the sake of it, we're going to Dynamesh them at 368. And then we're going to merge down into both buckles. Geometry, divide, one more time, divide, delete lower. And that's our straps for the wings. Those are two things we knew we needed to have on here. Okay. Next up is going to be, we're going to hide the cloak so that we can get in here and fuse. We're also going to hide the armbands, but we're going to basically sit here so we can fuse the waistcloth. So we need to tweak the waistcloth, make sure it go back to move, and make sure that the top edge is blending in well with the body. So bring that in there, in there, and in here. And now we're going to geometry. We're going to divide, delete lower. Take the subtool, merge down, and click Control, click and drag. Oh, I don't have it. Yeah, it's not. Okay, there we go. Now, I'm going to shrink this. We're going to add, smooth out where it meets the belly. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. One, two. And here. 1, 2. Okay. The reason we did that is we're also going to kind of blend this a little. The reason we did that is because we now need to make the belt. And we're going to take it here. And that's going to extract. Let's pull out that. Accept. Click. What we're going to do is we're going to try and get rid of the curve in here by Z-remeshing it half Z-remesher. Okay, now let's loop in on it so we can get a better view of this remeshing. Okay, right now it's looking at 24,000. We're going to less than that. We want to go a lot less. We want to go until there's only a couple rows of polygons on the front flat side. So that might bring us down to closer to a couple hundred. Okay, 6. So take us to 3.6, 1.8, 992, one more maybe. 528, maybe one more. Okay, that took us too far. Where did we lose our sharp edge? Oh, we'll have to leave it here. And let's turn that off, and we're going to subdivide it. One more, delete lower. And we're going to go back to our buckles. This buckle is going to be kind of about here. And we're going to make it big. And then we're going to use the move tool to kind of tweak the angle and otherwise the position of it. Yeah, that's good enough. We've got subtool. I said subtool and split unmasked parts. Now we're going to subdivide the geometry of the buckle, delete lower, and merge that down. And then we're going to frame it. Okay, that's the current state of our buddy here. Putting his props in this cloak. Still got a lot of detailing work left to do on the kilt, on his, put some wrinkles on his boots, and then do some more work on like adding straps and things like that. Maybe adding in an eye patch. Maybe, oh, that's an idea. We're going to take a couple of chunks out of his ear. Okay. Now what we're going to do, we're going to shrink this so it'll activate. And then there. One of his... Actually, no, we don't want to do it to that ear. We want to do it to this ear. Too late. Dang it. Okay, frame out. That's good enough for now. Let's Let's take out a chunk down here. Yeah. And the ear's been chunked. Oh, what's that? Okay. It is 9 o'clock. We've been at this for an hour and a half, and we've got, I would say, halfway done on the sculpting side. You got some nice variable textures on this winged cloak, giving it more like a half slapdash wing. The wand of lightning may have been snatched from an enemy, but yeah. Okay, so let me go ahead and pop back here. And I guess since no one's really watching and I've got most of it done, I guess I can go ahead and call it a night for tonight. At least you got again a good idea on what's going to be happening with Ishrak Galecaller, I think I said. Galebringer. That's what I call him. Ishrak Galebringer. And his boss, Rumhad Skull Eater. So that when I put them up on the Kickstarter page, don't forget the Kickstarter, you'll be good to go. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do my usual of, holding up my hand, counting from 5 to 1, saying something goofy, and when I get to 1, going, and when I see the on the screen, I hang up because, or not hang up, I've stopped the broadcast because that means I've caught up with the lag built into YouTube. Alrighty. So that's going to be a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Goblins are goblins, but not all goblins are goblins. Just remember that.